Alex Jones tweeted this about Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre.
Following this guy for years, and he is the real deal. Canada desperately needs a lot more leaders like him, and so does the rest of the world.
And then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had this to say about Alex Jones's tweet in the Canadian House of Commons.
But speaking of misinformation and disinformation,
those terms are getting so overused.
Disinformation. Any responsible leader that receives an endorsement and support from proven conspiracy theorist and liar Alex Jones would have immediately denounced that. But that's not what the leader of the opposition did. He did absolutely nothing because those kinds of endorsements fit within his political strategy.
And it wasn't just that speech in the House of Commons. The official Twitter page for the Liberal Party of Canada posted about this multiple times. But it brings up the question, should Pierre Poilievre or any political candidate be responsible for what other people say, even if they've said wild stuff in the past like Alex Jones?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Because in my opinion, no, this is such a ridiculous standard. This is from the playbook of like peak woke, like say between maybe 2015 to 2022, this guilty by association thing that we now know is a slippery slope. It started off with people like Alex Jones, and then it goes on to someone who's a little less controversial, a little less, and a little less. And if Pierre Poilievre, to my knowledge, he has not like spoken out or made some big public show of denouncing Alex Jones's comments, and he shouldn't have to. This is ridiculous, because if he does, again, we know it's a slippery slope. What happened with this politically and culture in the last 10 years is, okay, then you go to the next person who's a little bit less controversial. Next person who's a little bit less controversial. Next person. And then all of a sudden, people like Joe Rogan and Elon Musk are these terrible people when just 5-10 years ago, they are basically right in the center of discourse. One of the things that the Liberal Party of Canada tweeted out was this side-by-side of Alex Jones saying something and then Pierre Poilievre saying something kind of similar. I'll play it here in a second, but I don't think this proves much at all. These are pretty broad statements for the most part, but I'll play it here.
No matter what the nation states try, the globalists will dominate.
A group of globalist billionaires.
The phrase globalist billionaire, I don't think that's very bad. I mean, if you're saying that's bad, you're kind of making a whole bunch of leaps in your logic, and you're telling your audience, make all these leaps in logic. Globalist billionaires, on its face, that's not a crazy thing to say.
The World Economic Forum is a globalist organization of the UN to penetrate governments.
We will ban all of my ministers and top government officials from any involvement in the World Economic Forum.
So first of all, I don't know that that's the greatest policy by Pierre to just outright say that you're not going to have any of your officials associated with that thing, but people don't like that forum anymore. Even the Andrew Ross Sorkin of CNBC went to it last year and had to like apologize to his audience. Like, oh, I got to go to this stupid thing. And Andrew Ross Sorkin is more of a liberal, progressive New York type. I mean, there's a guy in his show named Joe, I think, that represents more of the Trump kind of wing. But Andrew Ross Sorkin, the point of this is even his audience has negative feelings towards this Davos World Economic Forum thing. So just to say that people saying the word globalist now or having skepticism of this World Economic Forum, that's not a fringe position anymore. Again, this Andrew Ross Sorkin, liberal, progressive moderator and commentator, basically saying to his audience right here, I'm headed to Davos. I know. Almost like he's ashamed or something.
And out of that, they will call for central bank digital currencies to be rolled out.
The central bank is now promoting a possible proposal to bring in a digital currency.
Again, on this policy, just the fact Alex Jones and Pierre Poilievre share the fact that they are skeptical of a central bank digital currency, this is a pretty common policy amongst the right. I think a lot of people on the left even, I just think a lot of people in general would be in support of not having this thing. In fact, first poll I found, 16% only of Americans, similar culturally to Canadians, support a central bank digital currency. So wow, Alex Jones and Pierre Poilievre share this view of not wanting a central bank digital currency that is also shared by the vast majority of Americans. That's actually pretty rare, by the way, for an issue to have this much consensus, for it to only be 16% of Americans that support a central bank digital currency.
You get the internet ID, That's then tied to your digital global ID that tracks everywhere you go, what you do, what you buy.
To answer your question, I will never allow the government to impose a digital ID.
And again, this one, not controversial at all. Most people agree with Alex Jones and Pierre Poilievre here in the context of a government digital ID. In fact, there was a survey done, and this one wasn't just the US, it's the entire world. Only 23% of people are in favor of this digital ID, which run by the government. So look, is Alex Jones the person that you'd think of when you think straight shooter, doesn't do anything for clicks, never sensationalizes a story, never says anything wild, never makes crazy mistakes? No, you could probably find, for sure, you could find over 1,000 political commentators in the United States who you could probably use as a better example, or you'd want an endorsement from, say, a less controversial person. But this game of guilt by association where somebody says they like you and then you have to go denounce them, it's so juvenile. We've got to get past this. And I think, thankfully, I think culturally we have moved past this because there's not that same appetite, this feeding frenzy of get them, get them, get them. The cancel culture, I think, is slowly starting to die away. I think it's definitely still there, but it's starting to go away, and this stuff isn't, I don't think, helpful. I think people realize that this is just like a game. It's just like a political trick to try to get Pierre to do what you want. And I don't want to talk about it. I mean, I'm getting baited into it for sure, so whatever. But I hope that the House of Commons gets back to talking about, one, the housing crisis, and number two, the economic engine of Canada. We have to get that going. More economic growth, lower housing prices. So with that said, thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you'd like. Have a good day.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.